You are probably already doing at least 3 of these, maybe more. And the frustrating part is that none of them feel like mistakes when you are doing them. They feel like fine. They feel like normal. Right up until you are on the side of a highway at noon, wondering how the day went this wrong, this fast. 11 mistakes, every single one preventable. Let's go through them. Every small camper has 3 numbers that matter: GVWR, dry weight, and payload capacity. GVWR is the maximum the trailer can weigh fully loaded. Dry weight is what it weighs from the factory. Payload capacity is the difference between the two, and that is your actual budget for everything you put inside. A trailer with a 3,500-pound GVWR and a 2,200-pound dry weight gives you 1,300 pounds of payload. That sounds generous until you add water, food, gear, bikes, and a generator. Then it disappears fast. Overloading changes how the trailer handles its speed. It stresses the tires and suspension in ways that do not announce themselves until something fails. And a small camper that is nose-heavy or tail-heavy is a trailer actively looking for an excuse to sway. Know your numbers before you pack, not after. Water weighs 8.34 pounds per gallon. A 30-gallon fresh tank adds 250 pounds to your load before a single piece of gear goes inside. On a small camper with limited payload capacity, that is a significant portion of your budget gone before you even start loading. It hurts fuel economy, adds strain to your tow vehicle, and pushes you closer to your limits on every bump and corner. Unless you are heading somewhere genuinely remote with no fill stations, there's no reason to leave home full. Travel light, fill on arrival. Think of the fresh tank as part of your payload budget, not a separate category. You would not pack 250 pounds of gear you do not need yet. Water is no different. Water damage is the #1 killer of small camper trailers, and it almost never announces itself early. It starts as a hairline crack in a roof seam, a slightly lifted edge around a vent, a bead of sealant that is dried out and pulled away from the surface. Water gets in, it sits. The wood underneath softens. By the time you notice a stain or a soft spot on the floor, the damage is already expensive. Inspect every roof seam and every roof penetration at least twice a year. Self-leveling lap sealant costs a few dollars and takes 20 minutes to apply. Water damage costs thousands and takes weeks to repair. Do not wait for symptoms. Check the roof before it gets to that point. Small camper air conditioners typically draw between 1,200 and 1,800 watts while running. The startup surge when the compressor kicks on can spike 2 to 3 times that for a fraction of a second. A lot of people pair these with small 2,000-watt inverter generators and wonder why the AC struggles to start or the generator keeps cutting out. The running wattage looks fine on paper. The startup surge is what kills it. Know your AC's running draw and its startup surge separately. A 3,000 to 3,500 watt generator handles a small camper AC without straining. Undersizing that generator is a mistake that will cost you sleep on the hottest night of your trip. Light the stove. Check the water heater. Verify the fridge switches to propane correctly. Do all of this at home before the trip, not at the campsite 2 hours away in the dark. Regulators fail. Valves corrode. Connections develop slow leaks that are easy to miss until they become a safety issue inside a closed trailer. A soapy water test on every propane fitting takes 4 minutes and shows you immediately if anything is weeping gas. Bubbles mean a problem. No bubbles means you are good to go. Test everything at home, every single trip. And while you are there, check how much propane you actually have. Leaving on a 3-day trip with a tank at 20% is a decision that will catch up with you. Trailer wheel bearings are packed with grease from the factory. That grease does not last forever. Heat, road spray, and mileage all degrade it over time. When bearings run dry, they overheat. When they overheat, they fail. And a bearing failure at highway speed can lock up a wheel or take it off entirely. Repack or replace your wheel bearings every 12,000 miles or once a year, whichever comes first. If your trailer has easy lube hubs, grease them at the same interval. It takes 20 minutes and costs almost nothing. After your first long drive of the season, check hub temperature by hand. Too hot to hold your palm on means it needs attention. 6 down. And these next ones are the mistakes that do not just ruin a trip. They cause real damage. Your truck is rated to tow 7,500 pounds. Your trailer's GVWR is 7,200 pounds. Close enough, right? Towing capacity ratings are maximums under ideal conditions. Flat roads, moderate temperatures, a properly maintained vehicle. They do not account for mountain passes, full payload, passengers and gear already in the truck, or a 95-degree afternoon where your transmission is already working hard. Running at 95% of your tow capacity on a flat highway is a completely different situation from running at 95% on a 6% grade in August. One is manageable. The other is how transmissions die. Build in a margin. A trailer at 70 to 80% of your tow vehicle's rated capacity gives you that buffer. Right at the limit means everything has to go perfectly. It rarely does. This one causes more unnecessary service calls than almost anything else. Absorption refrigerators, which are standard in most camper trailers, rely on gravity to circulate the refrigerant solution. A trailer that is significantly off-level disrupts that circulation. The fridge stops cooling. The owner assumes it is broken and calls for service. Most of the time, it is not broken, it is just not level. Get a bubble level for your camper. Level side to side first, then front to back. It matters more than most people think, and not just for the fridge. Off-level affects door alignment, slide-out function, and how well you sleep. Leveling blocks are not optional accessories, they are part of the setup. A standard shore power converter keeps pushing a charge even when the battery is already full. Over weeks and months of storage, that constant overcharging degrades the cells and kills the battery well ahead of schedule. You start the season expecting 3 more years out of it, and it is already dead. A proper battery maintainer, sometimes called a float charger, reads the battery state continuously and adjusts to keep it healthy without overcharging. If the trailer is going into storage, either disconnect the battery completely or put it on a proper maintainer. A battery that should last 4 to 6 years will not make it to 2 if you skip this step. Replacement batteries are not cheap. Maintainers cost almost nothing by comparison. If your camper has a slide out, the seals and rails need regular attention. Slide seals dry out and crack over time. Once a seal fails, every rain becomes an opportunity for water to get in around the opening. Slide mechanisms that are not lubricated bind up and wear faster, and they have a habit of failing at the worst possible moment. Wipe down the seals with a rubber conditioner a few times a year. Use the manufacturer-recommended lubricant on the rails and gears. If the trailer has been sitting, cycle the slide fully in and out a few times before committing to a trip. A slide that works in your driveway can bind on a cold or wet morning at a campsite. Maintenance prevents that, and if you are buying used, cycle the slide first. A binding slide tells you everything about how that trailer was looked after. You know the checklist. You have done this enough times that you run through it mentally while finishing your coffee and loading the last cooler. And that is exactly why things get missed. Stabilizer jacks left down, sewer hose still connected, antenna up, a cabinet that swung open overnight and is now blocking a slide, chocks still under the tires. Mental checklists have a gap rate. Physical walkthroughs do not. Walk the entire rig before every move. Every single time, inside and outside, every jack retracted, every connection disconnected, every vent closed. It takes 4 minutes. Dragging a sewer hose down a campground road or launching a chalk into traffic takes considerably longer to sort out. None of these are complicated, but all of them are easy to skip when everything looks fine at a glance. It almost never is. Know your weights, test your systems, walk the trailer every time you move it. Do those things consistently, and the problems that fill camper forums stop happening to you. Drop a comment with the one you have actually done. Subscribe for more. The best trips start before you leave the driveway.